Greetings and salutations, everybody. I'm Andrew from Team Respawn, and it's time for the 2019 Halo Wars 2 Leader Rankings video. I've been doing one of these about every year since Halo Wars 2 came out because the balance of Halo Wars 2 changes. It used to change all the time, and now not so much. And I really feel like these leaders are kind of stuck in their place where they are for the foreseeable future, so I feel like now is a good time to make a leader rankings video. Of course, a few things before I get started. One, it's entirely subjective, so if you just say I'm flat out wrong, you're wrong because it's subjective list. That doesn't make any sense. Also, there's no reason to bash anyone about ranking leaders in Halo Wars 2. Think of anything that impacts your life in any way, shape, or form, and this is not one of those things. So there's no reason to get upset, because I don't know why everyone gets upset with this. It makes no sense. If you're going to write a nasty comment, go get a job. That's my recommendation. Okay, here we go. We're starting with the S tier. These are the best of the best leaders. I have two leaders on this list. It is Decimus and Anders. The reason why is because Decimus, just the passive abilities that he has is so good. Both Boundless Fury and Boundless Siphon are great powers, and for some reason, they still have this bug in the game where Boundless Siphon works outside of combat, and it almost turns into a really great combat repair that Colony has. And I don't know why this is so hard for 343 to fix, but they just won't fix it, and everyone in the community has been begging for nerfs to Decimus, and they just won't do it. I mean, the leader wheel for Decimus is so good, especially with the great passives that he has, as well as some really good supporting powers like the Siphon that you can drop on top of Boundless Siphon. It has a nuke, which is the Glassing Beam. They still will not nerf Glassing Beam 3, so it just annihilates entire armies. And then, to really top it all off, there is the Decimus Hero Drop, which is you can just drop this leader from the sky, do its Y ability, which is like glassing beams in all directions. I mean, Decimus is just so good, and he's really easy to win with. Anders is also kind of the same as Decimus. Anders' supporting powers really makes it extremely difficult to go ground against Anders, just because of all the siege. With the added aggressor sentinels is really awesome, and all of the other sentinel powers that Anders has. Also, with the R&D upgrades, Anders can get unit upgrades really fast and really cheap. So an early game is a disadvantage with Anders if you're facing an Anders, because of course they can get upgrades faster, and then late game is a disadvantage too because the siege is so OP. So a lot of the times you have to go air to counter Anders. Next is the A tier, and I have three leaders in the A tier, and I have picked Pavium, Forge, and Colony. I'll start off with Pavium. I think he is really great, kind of like Decimus, in terms of awesome abilities that really complement the leader and the playstyle of Pavium. But really what sets Pavium apart is the burnout ability. I mean, you can just kick ass with your economy with Pavium. You can really just kill it with the economy as Pavium with the burnout ability. I mean, it's just really good. Also, the Lich is like this flying tank scarab thing that just won't die and lasts for forever. It has a really powerful beam, and you can train units out of the hole it creates on the ground. I mean, that is just such a good ultimate leader ability. For Forge, Forge is really great too because of the economic benefits that Forge has. A lot of the powers that really benefit tanks and vehicles, as well as the drop to have veteran Kodiaks really wherever is really cool as well. With Colony, I love Colony's leader. The Hunter Captain is one of my favorite leaders. I don't know if the Colony leader, the Hunter Captain, is the best in the game, but it's way up there. You can slap two skitters on that thing, and it can really destroy some armies, especially with its Y ability and when it starts to get veteranized through combat. Next is the B tier of leaders. These leaders will be classified as above average. I really have seen people just destroy me with these leaders in the past. There's only two leaders, it's Jerome and Atriox. Really, what I love about Jerome is how powerful the hero opener is for Jerome. And the Macedones as well, right now, are really good. Atriox has some great powers as well. Atriox, I feel like, has always been like pretty above average the entire time Halo Wars 2 has existed. There were some moments where the Jump Pack Brutes were really OP and some other things with Atriox, but I think he's really stayed pretty consistent throughout the changes in the balance. Next is C tier. These are leaders that sometimes I feel like do better in teams, but not so well in one-on-ones. But I don't play a lot of ones, so I really can't give you a whole lot of advice there. For these, I have Yap Yap, Captain Cutter, Morgan Cansado, the Arbiter, and Shipmaster. And some people may argue that the Arbiter and Shipmaster deserve to be a little bit higher on the list, but the way that my playstyle is I don't fare well with the leader powers that both Arbiter and Shipmaster have. So I can't really give you any advice on whether they should be higher or lower on the list. I put them kind of in the middle because I don't play them as much, so I can't really give you a whole lot of opinions. Cansado, I love. I love playing as Cansado. She's one of my most favorite leaders. I love all the unit drop abilities, the napalm missiles, the Inferno. So many things about Cansado really make me want to just play as her all the time. However, she's just not as good as she used to be. The Inferno used to just really torment everything. And now most people use the Inferno to drop on a base to kind of strip the buildings away. But she's still like pretty good in teams, is what I would say. The same kind of goes for Yap Yap. Yap Yap has a ton of leader drops and just a bunch of things that fall from the sky. There's all those turrets, the grunt domes, the power that lets you drop methane wagons with grunt riders and everything else. I really enjoy playing as Yap Yap. Next is D tier. I think in the D tier, these leaders are pretty bad and need a lot of help in the meta. This is Johnson, Isabel, and Serena. And really, I think it comes down to the Banish just being way outclassing the UNSC in most combat situations. And I don't know if this has to do with the fact that the counter units in the Banished are better than the counter units in the UNSC, or the way that the bases are structured to where the Banished can have shields and cloak, where the UNSC just has regular turrets and siege. I really don't really have any suggestions to make these leaders better, other than buffing some powers here and there, I guess. I don't know. But Johnson and Isabel, I think, are better in teams than they are by themselves. And I really don't know what the deal is with Serena. I feel like Serena was good for the season she came out in, and then was awful ever since. I don't really see a whole lot of people playing as Serena, and if they do, they never beat the people who they're facing against. So I think it really does take someone with a lot of skill to win a lot of games with Serena, if that kind of makes sense. There was a little bit of a time where I really enjoyed playing as Isabel, even in the current balance state that she's in, because the heavy metal holographic decoy combo is really satisfying. And I also love the pass ability that gives tanks shields, but at that rate, the Grizzly units will just outclass those. Johnson, I love the mechs idea. The idea of having mechs running around is really cool. And Johnson's ultimate ability I used to despise. I was like, well, this is so stupid that you get pads for free. But as the game progresses, Johnson's going to have the best economy out of any leader in the game, probably surpassing Pavium. The problem is you have to get to that point in the game, and I don't think a lot of games will make it to that point. Lastly is the awful tier, and there's only one leader left, and that's Vortis. And I can't really give you any advice on why Vortis is just so bad. One, because I don't ever play as him, and two, I don't hear anyone talking about him. I know that the people who are really into the meta of this game have a lot of suggestions for Vortis. But really, I can't give you a good reason to play as Vortis. I don't see anything that really stands him out, even though his playstyle with the goo is really different and interesting. I really can't give you anything. I have nothing on Vortis. I just think he's awful. Again, this is a subjective list. Um, so if you're going to say that I'm wrong, I'm just going to respond with no, you, or something. But I would really love to know what your list of the Halo Wars 2 leaders are. So post that in the comments down below. It can be a numbered 1 through 16 list, or it can be like this with a awful tier to S tier kind of thing. Either way, I'd love to hear what you have to think in the comments below, and I'll probably retouch the leaders' rankings in about a year or so. We'll see if there's any major patches to Halo Wars 2. I don't foresee any major patches coming anytime soon, so it'll probably be a few months before we see that kind of a thing. But if we do, it'll be interesting to see what changes. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew from Team Respawn, and I'll see you next time.